So here we are. Hi Sam, how you doing?
Oh, hello. I'm well. How are you, Shelsy?
I'm good. I'm doing all right.
Good, good.
Um, so I have a couple of questions. Hopefully
Okay,
they're not a lot.
it's all
Um,
right.
the first question is, when did you start music and making it?
Wow. When did I start? So when did I start making music?
Yes.
I started in the early 2000s in high school, and I started as a producer, learning the craft and just learning the different ways of creating music through this program called FL Studio. So a cousin of mine introduced it to me. He came over one day and installed the program onto the computer, and he's just like, he's invaded my personal space. He comes over, he installs a program on my computer. I'm trying to figure out like what is he doing, and I just see him making stuff and bobbing his head. So he plays it out through the speakers, and I hear like some music come out, and I'm like, what are you doing? How'd you do that? So automatically my first interaction with music was through, as far as music production, was my cousin creating it on my computer and showing me that this was possible using these digital tools. So yeah, that was my first thought to making music.
You see how building beats like help us teens that don't have like the right like sources to make music. Do you feel like at that time when you first started, if you had like you had your cousin who was the first person who presented music to you, but if you had like this organization that actually went to your school and helped you make music, like you feel like it would have been a lot more helpful?
Absolutely, definitely. When I started, I was in high school, and I went to high school for art. I went for commercial art. I wanted to draw. I wanted to be an animator. And the high school I went to, it didn't have any type of music related programs that I could access or learn more about music production. I was honed in on my craft as far as like I would go to school, and then when I come home, I'm tinkering and messing with FL Studio by myself, calling my cousin and asking him things here and there. But
Right.
ultimately, if there was an organization like Building Beats in my school, like it definitely would have been a great resource for me.
Is that something you're still into, like making art?
Oh, definitely. I mean, my my tag is Sammy on the Beat. That's what I stand for,
Yeah.
is producing music. So it's definitely something that I've always tried to make a purpose in my life. I was never good at sports, so I love to draw, but it wasn't something that was feeding my soul. So when I got into making music, I was like, this is another way I could be creative and kind of test new waters. And I didn't do it for, to make money or to get notoriety or anything like that. I did it because I
Yeah.
enjoyed it and
You're
I loved it.
passionate.
Yeah, I was passionate about it. So,
All right. There's an easy question. What kind of music are you into making and
oh
producing?
wow. This is something. It is an easy. It's definitely an easy question, but I enjoy making hip hop. Like I enjoy making hip hop, R&B, and just like off the wall alternative kind of music. I'm not classically trained. I don't have any experience with playing any instrument per se. The first instrument I learned was the recorder. So I don't have any experience in that. I grew up in the church and singing in the choir. So a lot of my love came from, like my humble beginnings in my church,
Yeah.
and experiencing gospel music for the first time and things like that. So, but yeah.
Do you have any projects coming up?
So I just released my debut beat tape called Filtered Thoughts that came out May 23rd. Yeah, thank you, thank you. And that was such a perfect reflection of who I am as a person, like chill and laid back, that I'm trying to get more into the habit of pushing myself to release new music. So I do have one track I'm gonna release this month. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, stay tuned for that. Just releasing more content throughout the rest of the year.
All right. Around what time did you find out about building beats, and how did you start? How did you discover?
So, okay, this is a wonderful story. I would love to share this. I used to work retail like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was tired of it. I was so tired of working retail. So I worked retail and I worked at a school. At the school, I was teaching music production, and I really enjoyed it, but I was only working there twice a week. And I felt like retail was taking up too much of my life, and it was something that I just was doing that for a paycheck. So I put my 2 weeks in for my retail job, and I told myself, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to work at the school and I'm going to find something else that I'm passionate about doing. So once I put my 2 weeks in, I started to look on Instagram. This is a true story. So I looked on Instagram and I started searching hashtags that said music production, youth education, stuff like that, things that were involved in music and dealing with the youth. Because like I said, I enjoyed teaching already. I wanted to see if I could do that full time or do it more days out of the week. So I bumped into Building Beats through one of the hashtags, and I said, who's this? Like, there's an organization like this? So I said, you know what? Let me go. I checked out their website from their Instagram, and I was like amazed. I was like, this is what I want to do. So I ended up emailing them, and I believe Fee contacted me back. I believe I got an email from Fee. Shout out to Fee, the GOAT. They emailed me back, and they was like, hey, we're doing a link up downtown somewhere. And, basically it was a link up to try to get people that wanted to be a part of Building Beats or support Building Beats. It was a link up to get people to come through for that. I went to it, and I met a very small team of Building Beats at the time. They showed a bit of their work on this projector, and I was like, I'm sold. Like, I want to help. I don't know in what capacity. I just want to help. And at the end of the meet and greet and everyone introducing themselves, I left my email, the ways I wanted to support Building Beats, and I just left. And I left not thinking anything would come of it. And I get an email from Fee like the following week, and he just says, hey, are you teaching on Fridays? And I said, no. And long story short, I ended up teaching at my first Building Beats sites in Brooklyn at a school called Tech Charter. No, not Tech Charter. Oh, my God. Not Tech Charter. It was Achievement First. It was Achievement First in Brooklyn. Oh, my God. Yeah, so Fee was teaching that site, and then he needed me to take over, and I ended up taking over for him, and it was a cool experience. And fun fact about that first site, that first Building Beat site I took over, Alberto was in that class. Alberto and Angel was in that class. So that's how I met two of our current bbLeaders at that class. Yeah.
It has been 5 years now since you've been working with them, or longer?
5 years. 5 years. Yeah. 5 years.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's how you know that the media really helped.
Yeah, social media is definitely a great place to kind of find your future, I guess, because that's how I found mine.
Definitely. All right. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next question is, what is your role at Building Beats, and what does Building Beats mean to you?
So my role at Building Beats has evolved over the years, of course. For the first 4 years, I started as a workshop leader, which pretty much I would take on a site and teach students like yourself music production, audio recording, pretty much how to turn your content and kind of brand it in a way. One of my biggest ways of contributing as a workshop leader to the sites that I worked at was I would always try to turn the classroom into a record label. And Shelsy, I know you understand that. You would walk in and I would already have the mic set up and everything.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? So we would have a good time with that. And what I enjoyed about that was that students that were like, I don't want to do music. Once I turn that classroom into a studio, everyone is locked in. Everyone's working, So the quietest students are making beats in the corner. Then you get the vocal students. They're writing their raps and their verses. It was just a nice experience to bring community in the classroom. So that was my first role for building beats, and I still currently do that as well. And then late last year, I took on the role as bbLeader coordinator, which is I get the greatest opportunity to work with a great group of students that come from our alumni network. Students have been involved in building beats over the years that have graduated so far in their education that, instead of you guys moving on without us, you guys have come back into our circle, into this space of bbLeaders, which is our youth, like I said, our youth network of students that just want to learn more about music production, music business, entrepreneurship, and evolve their leadership skills. So I'm currently coordinating that.
Yeah, and I've seen that the program has definitely grown a lot.
Yeah, and it's gonna keep going up.
I feel like that's all that we're creating this environment where it's becoming so safe that everybody feels like they could share any type of genre of music. And
absolutely,
I definitely enjoy that.
Speaking from that point, how would you feel about your experiences in bbLeader? I switched the question on you now.
I feel like it's giving me what I don't have, which is the power to wake up and actually make music. It's something that I enjoy doing 100%.
Yeah.
But when it comes to having a group of people that also make music just like me, I don't often find that. So
absolutely,
building beats gives me that connection to have those people. I started working with Mason and Sean, and it felt great. I'm like, I definitely like this. It's something different. It's a very new experience to me, which is great.
Yeah, and that song is fire.
It's catchy.
Yeah, I'm amazed at just the collaboration attempts by all bbLeaders, because you guys you guys inspire me. So I think it's an ongoing flow of inspiration. And the fact that we're able to do that virtually, I think is amazing.
And that leads me to my next question too. The inspiring.
Oh, wow.
What inspires you to continue at building beats and making music?
What inspires me? Say it again.
What inspires you to continue at building beats and making music?
So, what inspires me to continue with building beats is the fact that this is probably the first environment I've been in that makes me feel happy to be here. You know what I mean? You have to understand, and you'll go through these experiences as you grow and you evolve as a person as well, but you'll be put in places where the environment doesn't always suit you, or it doesn't feel right to you, or it doesn't feed your purpose. And building beats does that for me. I feel like if I can educate people younger than me that have the same aspirations as myself, I just want to give you a couple of gems that help me along my way by instilling them into a younger generation, because I didn't have mentors when I was coming up. So if for some reason I'm a mentor now, cool, building beats helps me define that purpose. And what was the second question?
What inspires you to continue making music?
Oh, I mean, just the same beliefs that I have for building beats is just something that serves my purpose. I enjoy making music for. It's more
Mhm.
therapeutic for me, instead of me having something that the whole world loves. I don't have those aspirations or those goals for myself. I just make it so that is this something that I feel comfortable putting out there, or do I feel comfortable creating? I do it more for myself. And then whatever attracts that type of energy, I'm more than welcoming to it. Throughout the years, I've seen how I've been able to help people through music, and that's enough for me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's why I continue teaching the youth and why I continue teaching music. I feel like I'm able to help so many different people through both mediums.
Did you have people like look down on you because you wanted to pursue a career in music?
Um, Trying to think. To be honest, I had a big support system till this day. My parents have been highly supportive. My friends and family are always asking me, like, how the music doing? You successful now, right? You doing this, right? Wow, we're proud of you. Like I always get a sense of admiration from my peers and family.
That's good.
Not to say that there aren't any low days though. There's clearly low
Definitely.
days where things aren't going the route you want it to go, but it's all about the purpose and your intent and why you create anyway that drives everything else. So if you go
Mhm.
at it with a positive intent, everything else really doesn't matter. Like, I'm not pushing myself to get a Grammy or to have a
Yeah.
sense of notoriety amongst a group of people. It's more or less like I know I'm dope. I know I can create many things and it works for me, you know, and I'm able to help the next generation. Like that's fine enough for me. My purpose has
Definitely.
already been served, So support is definitely there.
I That's great. I feel like that's something that some people struggle with when it comes to like
Absolutely.
making music. Not a lot of people could like really say, "Oh, you make music for a living?" What? No. Some
Mhm.
people just say that's just a dream. Like, no.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it goes into it's that saying of like just do it and prove it. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
prove it by doing it, and you'll notice in all of your small steps that your habit for getting it done will outweigh the naysayers because they're gonna look at you like, oh my God, they just keep going. Oh my God, they
Yeah.
did this now. So it's like once the accolades build up, you're not even gonna see the accolades because you're gonna be so focused on the next task. And that's like my mind state. I'm not focused on what I did last month. I'm already on to what I have planned for the next 6 months. You know what I mean? So as long as you the same keep the same energy and you will prosper. That's it.
Yeah, well said.
That's it. Keep the same energy.
Wha- What is the 5-year goal plan while being at this company? So basically, what is in 5 years, where do you picture the company going and your career, your role at this company? Where do you want it to be?
Well, for bbLeaders, well, for building beats as a whole, I had many conversations with Fee as far as that type of question. And we always talk about the growth of bbLeaders in building beats and just everything in an entirety. And I just see it really being a place where creatives can come together, share their journey with others, and that's how you kind of bring forth a community that always can grow, and that's that same type of mentality I want to bring into bbLeaders, students that want to learn music production but don't know how. We want to be the starting place for you to give you resources to teach you and still put you in part of a community that is flourishing, because I mean, you'll notice in bbLeaders we have students from every type of point
Yeah.
of what they know or what they
Hmm.
don't know. You know what I mean? So the learning curve is very all over the place for bbLeaders, but it doesn't matter because the community helps you learn. The community
Hmm.
helps you grow. So as far as 5 years from now, I see bbLeaders globally, like right now I'm trying to build out virtually that we are able to add on new students on Zoom calls or however we're doing it for now. But when we're in person, I feel like it'll be more of an intimate type of relationship with our students to
Yeah.
say, we're in a space now, we're together, we can share ideas, we can build together on more of a connected kind of plateau. But virtually, we're able to have a more wider reach because I can talk to a student right now that's probably in LA. You know what I mean? So expanding the growth of building beats, which will expand the growth of everything else. So in the next 5 years, who knows what type of role I'll be in, but I still, the goal is still the same. Inspire the next generation so you guys can inspire the next generation coming up after you, you know? So these are good questions.
We've been going through it. The world has been going through it with the pandemic and all of this. It's been a headache for everyone. How has the pandemic affected your job and what has it taught you?
It's a good question. So I'll start with what it taught me first, and then I'll say how it's affected our work. What it's taught me is I've probably gained more of a sense of reflection of myself during this time. You know, when you're indoors 24/7 almost, all you have time to do is think. So I've been thinking a lot about the things that hinder me and the things that I might fear and how I can overcome them. You know, how can I be a better person? How can I come out of this pandemic a newer version of myself? You know, not to say that we're so broken that we always got to continuously change ourselves, but during this time, you want to grow. Like, you don't want to just stay dormant and not grow in the process. You know what I mean? So I kind of look at it like the caterpillar to cocoon kind of phase. We're in a cocoon. I want to come out like a butterfly, you know? So I want to spread my wings and fly. So, yeah, during this time, I've been thinking a lot to self, focusing more on family, focusing more on myself and self-care for myself. Because before the pandemic, you know, we live in New York. We're on the go 24/7. We don't really always hustling and bustling, right? So I've never really had proper times with my family. I never really had proper times to myself. So I've used a lot of the quarantine time to focus in on that and the things I care about, you know, and just being more organized as well. So that's what it's taught me. As far as how it's affected our work, I got to give it up to Building Beats because our core team is so attentive, so focused, and they have the drive to keep going. So, you know, during this time, a lot of our workshops were in person. We were like, what are we going to do? And we came up with an idea in 2 weeks to build out an online platform.
And
online platform. And it worked. Yeah. An online platform where we would do our music production workshops, music business workshops, you name it, we did it online. And we also reached out to people in the music industry world, from managers to radio hosts, to producers, to engineers, anyone involved in the world of entertainment we reached out to, and we did Q&As with them on our new platform, BB Connect. So we've been able to do a lot of our remote work because a lot of the tools we teach in the classroom were all digital. So we were able to apply that to remote learning. So I would say it was a struggle. Our experiences are not the same as in person. Our connection, I feel, is stronger in person. But the fact that we've still been able to keep afloat, and, you know, most importantly for me is I wanted to make sure our students were good. So I know a lot of them are going through it. A lot of them are probably like not really understanding what's going on. And I wanted to help provide a space, especially for bbLeaders. That's why I created the Wednesday meetups, because I'm like, you know, you might have a stressful week, but I want you to know that Wednesday is our safe place. You know, come online, chat with us, chill, whatever you want to do, you know. So things like that, we've been able to evolve and do things a little differently, but keep our messaging and our culture the same. So
It's definitely worked. The Wednesday meetups, I feel like it brought us closer since a
yeah,
lot of us like didn't know each other and a lot
yeah,
of new people came in, and I don't know, it was a little different and
yeah,
it's fun.
yeah,
Surprisingly
yeah,
very funny, but
yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I was just gonna
go
say that
ahead.
there, we do our Friday workshops where it's more. I feel like it's more structured, but I wanted
Mm-hmm.
something that was not structured. So that's why the Wednesdays came about, so we can meet each other and talk to each other instead of saying Sam's gonna talk to
Definitely,
us for these next 30 minutes.
definitely. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges you have faced while being here, working at Building Beats?
um, Challenges. Huh. It's funny to bring up the word challenges because I always tend to take on every task handed to me, even if I'm fearful. Um, and I guess the only thing that is a challenge for me being a part of Building Beats is that I'm very, I'm more of an introvert. So I like to stay behind the scenes. I don't like to really do public speaking a lot. So these virtual calls have forced me to kind of come out of my shell and be more. Sorry, my
Is that
phone is
right?
talking. Okay. The virtual experience and even in person, I've had experiences that kind of pushed me to jump out of my shell. So I got to talk in front of a room full of techs, uh, engineers, I would say, well, tech engineers at Snap. So that was cool. Um, but the challenge was I was scared of public speaking. So I was like, oh, I'm in a room with, oh my God, hold on. My phone. It's like when your phone thinks that you're talking to it. I'm not. Okay. Um, let me sum it up because my phone distracted me. My challenges have been, I'll say two things. Public speaking, I get into rooms of new. Oh my God. My God. I'm turning my phone off actually. Okay, there we go. So um public speaking and number two, the pandemic. Those are the only two challenges I could think of. Um And I would also add on a third is like, especially during remote learning, you can get burnt out quickly. I know my students have experienced it with all the assignments that they were given during
Yeah.
the later half of the school year. So trying to manage your time, like how do I not get burnt out? How am I able to keep up with everything that's going on and not kind of, explode and then. So those have been my challenges that I'm still working through.
All right. Um, so when it comes to the bbLeaders,
Mhm.
we definitely make music. We sit down, we write lyrics. Some of us are working to be producers. All of this, like Jada.
Mhm.
Um, where do you like? You've like, for example, you've known me for years now. Where would
Mhm.
you like? What's the goal? What's like a picture that you paint of us later on in the years?
The goal I
Like what?
paint for all the bbLeaders is like through all of our weekly meetups and all of the information given to you and all the opportunities as well.
Mhm.
Especially with the Q&As and the guests we bring in, who you guys are more than willingly to link up with and connect with offline. I think all the resources, let's just say all the resources given to bbLeaders. My goal or how I envision it going is that let's bring up a Jada, Alberto, Angel, and some of our veteran bbLeaders as examples. These are students that have been involved in building beats for years, and they've went over to bbLeaders and been involved in that space as well. They're moving on to college now. They're moving on to another stage in their life, right? So the goal there is that if you're moving on to this next plateau in your life, you want to inspire the next generation just how you've been inspired. Just have you been inspired through your upbringing, through this community that you've been involved in.
Mhm.
So, you know, ultimately the goal is, it's kind of like to recycle the idea of what we're already doing. And that's how it'll be bigger, you know. Alberto can lead bbLeaders where he goes on to be in the future. Jada in LA, she can lead bbLeaders out there. She can inspire a new generation of bbLeaders. And it's just us continuously getting bigger, having more connections within our circle. And that's how I see it, truly, you know, because the greatest thing about being a teacher is that you would think that the concept is, I'm teaching you, you can't teach me. That's not the case at all.
Yeah.
I'm learning every day from every student that I teach. And that's how it should be, you know. So whoever takes on that next phase in life, they should surround themselves with people that can help them grow as they want to help others grow as well.
What's one thing you wish you knew before you started working at building beats? Or it's just like in general when you started making music?
Making music and working at building beats. I wish I knew. Well, I'll answer the making music part. I wish I knew some of the business, some of the dealings of business with the music industry. I got offered a lot of things early, especially in high school, from record labels, and I was too scared to move forward because I didn't understand the business. And I always tried to protect my worth, or was too scared to show my worth because I would always say to myself, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And the one biggest lesson I learned from those experiences was that the opportunity came to me. I didn't feel I was ready, but the opportunity might not come again. So sometimes you have to just put your best foot forward and just hope for the best, you know? So I wish I learned a little bit about the business earlier on, but because I didn't have any mentors or there wasn't any music program in my school and I went to school for art, I had no resources to reach out to. So I just kind of had to figure it out on my own. You know, shout out to YouTube coming years later because it wasn't around when I was in high school. And as far as building beats, phrase the question again. I want to answer it for building beats.
Is there any challenges? I mean, is there anything you wish you would knew before you started working there?
Okay, so well, for building beats, I think my interaction with building beats the first time when I went to like the meet and greet, that kind of gave me an idea of what was going on with building beats and how they were involved in these different communities, from community centers to after school programs and working with the youth. And I had an understanding of it already because I was already teaching at a Harlem school for about probably like a year or two prior to meeting building beats. So I already had experience teaching youth music production. So I really didn't have any challenges coming into that. The only challenge that you always face as a teacher is when you're introduced to new students, because they always look at you like, who are you? I don't respect you. And, you know, you have to earn that trust. So that's a challenge I will gladly accept because I'm a likable person, you know. And I would hope any classroom I walk into that kids will embrace me after about a week or two. I give them time.
Is there anything at the moment that you wish you could improve when it comes to like workshops or working with the bbLeaders, just anything, or even within your life right now?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like the workshops, everything being virtual right now, it kind of makes like you're able to pack a lot more on as far as like workshops and content and things like that, because we're already working on our computers. And it's very easy for me to say, hey, there's no travel time in between classes. I just have to click on a link and I'm in my class. So that brings up pros and cons, because the pros are I can teach more students throughout the day, but the con is I don't have a lot of time to really prepare my weeks per se, because I packed on so much. So especially for BB leaders, I want to open our workshops up more to kind of introduce you guys into more talking points or more topics. And, you know, there's certain things from my time with music production and as an engineer that I might not be versed in, like graphic design, but you know, perhaps we can bring people on to teach that, but those particular classes require budget. So if there's anything I would want more for BB leaders, is more money involved to where we can do more for you guys. So which we're planning, you know, we're planning these things to happen. You know?
Yeah, I see it. Then we should get like 11K donated to us.
Well, listen, you know, I'm not clocking the numbers, but we're doing the work. we're doing the work.
Yeah.
You know.
Is there anyone in the music industry that you look up to?
Oh wow. Anyone in the music industry I look up to? I would say I look up to. Wow. I'm kind of like in this phase, right, where I'm not glorifying celebrities. So like, you know, the younger me would probably give you a list of names, but because I'm in this phase where I don't spend that much time on social media, I'm kind of more focused on just building, you know, self-care. So I really don't know who inspires me, or in a way. I mean, I could definitely put J. Cole out there, you know.
Oh yeah, J. Cole.
Definitely, you know, he's definitely been an artist of mine that has inspired me, and his story is very inspirational. And you know, just knowing what he's built over the years and being kind of like the underdog, I always kind of root for those kind of artists that aren't completely mainstream, but they have a voice or some type of messaging in their music that always resonates with me. I feel like I'm missing somebody. When it comes to like working in my favorite program, FL Studio, I always, one of my favorite producers is Knife Wonder. I've been listening to Knife Wonder for quite some time, even when he started producing for Little Brother. So just to see his growth over the years and working with artists like Rhapsody, working with Jay-Z and countless other artists is very inspiring, you know, because there was a negative outlook on FL Studio when I was in high school. People would say that, oh, you make beats in FL Studio, your beats sound very cheap or very they don't sound professional. And I always had a crazy like response to that, because I'm like, have you never heard of Knife Wonder? He's placing music with major artists. You know, so I think that was just ridiculous. But yeah, Knife Wonder, J. Cole. As far as like maybe like on a business side, I guess maybe like P. Diddy. He's an inspiration. I actually got a chance to intern at Daddy's House, which was P. Diddy's studio. So right when I came out of audio school, I landed that internship maybe like 5 to 6 months later after my time in audio school. And I learned a lot being at that studio. I learned a lot about the behind the scenes, the work ethic of an audio engineer, and then meeting Diddy for the first time in the flesh and seeing his work ethic. And I'll never forget the day that he actually acknowledged me. It made me feel like, wow, I'm working just as hard, you know? So I don't know, it was crazy. Because I definitely interned fairly young. I wasn't even 21 yet. I was like 19 or 20 when I was at my internship. So I learned a lot at that age, and seeing how demanding the music industry is. That's a lot for a 19 or 20-year-old to experience, because I went from cleaning bathrooms, getting food from McDonald's, cleaning the studio, reorganizing this, And all of that to say that it led me to great opportunities. I got to engineer sessions and work with artists like Royce the 5'9" and Dawn Richards, who was a part of Danity Kane, and just so many countless artists. I got to experience their work ethic and kind of see like, this is what it takes to be in the music industry. This is what you have to do. So that's why I always contribute that part of my life to my work ethic, because I saw how those individuals worked, and it inspired me to say, you need to look out for me too. So yeah, my experience. So I always definitely look at Diddy different than other people, because I was an intern at his studio and I saw how his work ethic was.
All right, that was a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Is that something you major in? You mentioned audio school. Was that something that you majored in?
Yeah. So I went to the Institute of Audio Research between 2008 and 2009, I think. And I pretty much got certified as an audio engineer. So there was no degrees involved. It was more or less like a trade school. So I got certified as an audio engineer. And from there, I was able to land internships at 2 different studios. One was Smash Studios, and the other one was Daddy's House Recording Studio. And I spent about 3 months at my first internship. And then at Daddy's House, I spent about 9 months to a year. And I always like kept my relationships there, you know. But yeah, so I'm a certified audio engineer. I've been involved in music production for probably like 10 years. I don't even know. I've lost track. But yeah, that would be my upbringing.
When it comes to making beats, what is the process?
That has changed over the years. So what I've noticed about myself is that I don't like making beats throughout the day. I rather wait till nighttime. I can really lock in on the nighttime.
Yes, nighttime is a different vibe.
It's a different vibe. I do all of my sessions with like artists at night. Majority of my sessions are at night. So it's just a different vibe. I tap into something different, and I'm able to work without any interruption or distractions. But yeah, part of my process is, you know, I load up FL Studio. This is, you know, my little home studio here. I got my machine right here. I haven't used Machine in a while. I've been sticking to FL Studio these days. But I normally start off with maybe drums, or maybe I'll start off with laying down some chords, but normally that's my process. As far as like tapping into whatever mood I'm in, I kind of focus in on that as well.
We're down to the last question.
Oh man.
Yeah.
This was a good interview. Wow.
My first interview.
Yeah, this is good.
It's definitely something new for me, and I'm glad I got to like experience this.
Oh yeah, you're doing a great job.
How does your background and where you come from influence your work?
Oh wow. So yeah, speaking to my background, I would say I grew up very disciplined. And my parents were always on me, you know what I mean? Especially when it came to like education. So I started off in like private school, and in private school, it's a different environment than public school all the way. Like uniform, teachers are very strict. Teachers could hit me with a paddle. They had a paddle. So if you acted out of line, they would hit you with the paddle. So yeah, my private school days are very interesting, but it taught me discipline. And I transferred to public school around 4th or 5th grade. And public school was a different world for me. Like, kids were calling out, they were swearing, they were talking back to the teacher. And I was just like, oh my God, are they going to get hit with the paddle? Like, I was lost because I didn't know. So I was still into my studies in public school, but what I noticed about myself was that I got distracted easier, and my grades started to decline as I went forward in public school. So, but like sixth to 8th grade was hard for me as far as my grades, and my parents were always just on me about my grades, and I think that system of just having accountability from my parents always made me try to accomplish my goals or try to reach for bigger heights, which translated to my later years in high school and getting introduced into music. I would always hold myself accountable for my work ethic or the things I said I would do. And then down the line, I started working with artists, and that also held me accountable as well, because working with artists and someone saying, hey, do you have that beat finished, Sam, that you said you started last week? I started to notice that, wow, I have a responsibility now. I have to get this done. People are following up with me. They're holding me accountable to what I said I was going to do, So I learned a lot about my life through accountability and just being put in situations that forced growth on my behalf. And I thank all of my experiences for that, my early grade teachers, to my friends and family, to my now circle and building beats and bbLeaders. bbLeaders definitely hold me accountable every day. Sam, did you do this? Did you do that? So life is all about accountability, so you need people around you that are gonna, hold you to the things that you say.
Before that, did you have like any friends that were interested in the same things as you, as like music? Except for your cousin.
Except for my cousin, yeah, definitely. Because I started in high school, no one else in my high school was making beats. Like it was rare to find anyone else in the school, my high school at the time, that was making beats, and which was surprising to me because I started bringing my beats in on a CD player. And anytime a new artist would come out with an album, every student would listen on their CD players, rock out. And I remember someone saying, yo, what are you listening to? And I would respond, my beats. And they would say, what? And then that's how it kind of grew around my school, that students knew me for making beats. And there were like I said, no other students in the school that I knew about that were making beats, but there were other students that were like, I rap, I sing, I do this. And what I would do is I would make like beat CDs for my friends and pass that out and stuff. So that was a new experience for me, And I think that's what inspired me to kind of go on this path, was that it was something unique to me at the time. No one else was doing it. And I was able to build some type of community with it. So I found friends that wanted to do music, and I took them on as my artists, not knowing how to record. I hooked up a Radio Shack mic in my closet, and I said, yo, rap your verse. And those early sessions sounded trash, but I think there's a sense of empowerment when you tell yourself, I'm going to try something. I don't know if it's going to work. You do it, and you can see or hear the outcome of what you've done.
Definitely.
Like that's an amazing.
I feel like music really.
Yeah.
In that aspect, yes, definitely. When it comes to music, I feel like it's one of those things that you're just like, okay, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna see how's it gonna come out. And once you hear it, it's like, especially now, because I feel like when it comes with me, like I don't have a studio where I could go and record. I literally have my phone, and from there I send these beats, and then I just record from there, which is easier.
Fun.
Like now you have social media, so it's like it's easier for you to like record yourself and make it sound somewhat professional.
Yeah, you have so many tools to use now.
It's very different now. Well, that was it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this was good.
Anything else you would like to add?
Keep just, during this quarantine, if there's anything that you want to do, I encourage everyone to just do it. You know what I mean? Don't wait until the world gets back to a normal place. Just start it now. Feed your spirit now. Don't wait to feed your spirit. As we can see in all of the things going on in the world, that it's more important now than ever to connect with people that share your same interests, connect with others in the world that you can build with and kind of create something with. Because, I think this is a shift in the world right now that was always going to happen, but love and just taking care of each other is what's going to help us through these times. So yeah,
This
just
year was a wake up call.
it was a wake up call, you know, and we can't hit that alarm, you
Definitely.
know, can't shut the alarm
Mm-hmm.
clock off. So
Yeah.
we just got to stay focused on the goal, you know.
All
So
right.
last thing I would just add is, you know, stay safe, wear your mask, take care of the elderly, and love thy neighbor. Love thy
All right.
neighbor.
Thank you so much. If I have any follow up questions, I'll hit you up.
Of course.
Um, and I guess that's it. We could wrap it up.
Thank you so
Have
much,
a good
Chelsea.
day, Sam.
Peace.